Good evening, everyone. Um, I started these live streams a few weeks ago, and I've gotten a lot out of this. And since starting them, I've grown a bit stronger. I've managed to be able to speak a bit better, and I think I've got a I've got a clearer vision of what I need to be doing for the future. It's not easy to be able to sit in front of a camera and talk. Uh, it's not easy, and I'm I like to think that I'm getting a bit better at what I'm doing, and it's making my communication skills a little bit better. Since I've been doing this, I have had an amazing amount of people reach out to me from all over the world, and it's really touched me. It's I've gone from being um, barely talking to anyone and um, barely leaving the house for the last 6 months, um, to in the last maybe month and a half, I've been getting more active and doing things. And, this is a great thing for me. Hey, Ange, good morning to you as well. Nice. Yeah. So you're in the summertime in the lakes. See, I'm sitting here in my bedroom and I'm chatting and I'm talking to someone and from the other side of the world. Like, that's awesome. Awesome. That put a smile on my face, Ange. I hope you're having a good day or evening, where it's evening here, so it's probably daytime there. Um, but I've I've been communicating back and forth in the comments, and awesome. See, I'm smiling again. I'm laughing and smiling, so that's even better. You know. Um, but I've been talking about some heavy stuff and some serious heavy stuff, and I've felt a bit daunted by doing that. And the last stream I did was pretty heavy, so I'm a little bit worn out, and um, I do feel better for doing it though. Um, but I have noticed that with the comments, like I've been having great conversations with people back and forth, and um, on the not all the comments are showing on my um, videos after I've like been having these conversations. So I don't know why. I think it's YouTube because I'm talking about serious, heavy stuff. Maybe YouTube's like um, controlling a little bit of that. Maybe it's I don't know, but I understand. Um, what I'm trying to say is anyone who I've spoken to in the last few days or few weeks, if for some reason it's not showing up, at least we had a conversation, and I've had some really great um, interactions. And um, I'm going to keep doing this because it's pretty meaningful for me to be able to go through a positive change in my life. Oh, well, thank you, Ange. I'll, um, I had sort of apprehension is why I did, you know. Yes, absolutely. Like I spent so much time alone, and now I'm um, reaching out to people on the internet, and I don't feel so alone. I do have family around me, and I have a few friends, but I besides that, I'm pretty lonely, and this is really helping me to break all that loneliness and isolation. So um, one thing, like with all of that, like I hope that well, I'm not just hoping, I'm actually doing it. You know, like today, I um, I finished cleaning all the poles and sorry, all the posts and the architraves on the veranda for my mum because they all got moldy, and it took me. I started it a few weeks ago, and then it I had a break for a week maybe, and then I got back to it and I finished it today, and it made her really happy to see. She got to see it all nice and clean, and it's like a job that's been meaning to be done for a while. And then we had one of the care team come and speak to mum today, and that was good. And I helped my father finish like the start of putting railings in the stairs, and that was good. I was a little bit impatient, and then I thought to myself, I need to calm down. I wasn't being overreacting or anything, but I identified that I need to just chill out a bit, and we got it done. And so tomorrow, Mum can walk down the stairs with one railing at least. So that's all these things are positive, and um, I didn't really get much else done today, but I did a lot of thinking and soul searching. I had a dilemma with a friend of mine where I um, almost fell out with that person. I don't have many friends, so I was managed to um, communicate with him and say, I'm under stress, and um, I'm upset about a few things, and I want us to be good friends. So um, I don't want to dwell on things, and I hope he understands. I think he does. And I spoke to my uncle, had a chat to him. Hadn't spoken to him for uh, a couple of months, but we don't speak much. But when we do, we have a chat. Um, I did a bit of cleaning, but not much, just enough, you know, just little things. While I'm sort of caring for my mum, um, these are the sorts of things that I'm doing in the daytime. And when it's um, when it's easy at the moment, it's getting a little bit more difficult. So it was difficult a couple of months ago, and I sort of waiting for it to be a really big thing for me. So it's difficult because it's painful, and um, I'm just really appreciating the time getting to spend with my mum at the moment, because there's no telling of when that sort of interactions and special time that I get to have these moments will disappear. And when that happens, I'll be regretting not getting to do those things. Um, and the same with my father this afternoon. And I going back to, I got a bit impatient, but then I realized that, it's the same thing with him. He's not in the same situation as my mum, but we've got to spend as much time in those situations, and appreciate them, and not get upset about the situation, and just enjoy it. And in the end, it turned out great. And I'm looking forward now to help finish the rest of the railings up the stairs, which will happen over time. Um, but yeah, it's every day is something new at the moment. Um, I I'm finding like I'm not waking like, I had a few nightmares recently, but I'm waking up feeling a lot better at the moment. I'm not having the nightmares that I was having, and I'm ending the day feeling like I'm achieving enough. And I always think I need to do more, but I know that at the moment I'm doing more than for where I am at the moment. I think I'm doing enough, and um, I can't be more grateful to have all this appreciation and love for all from people out there. Like, I'm not looking to make a massive channel or anything. I'm just wanting to connect with people, and this is great. You know, I'm just going to read your comment there, Ange. Biggest thing that helps me through PTSD is counting my blessings. Being grateful changes program. Even the small things, my relationships, my relations have changed a lot too. Yeah, that's it. Like, um, counting your blessings and being grateful for the changes, and how the things that you had all these things that you associated with very important things, like day-to-day things, as well as very personal things, and then they change, and you have a whole different outlook on what they are. And that's something fresh and new. It's like walking out into the bush and like getting a breath of fresh air, and then seeing the sunlight through the trees, and it's like that's whole new thing. And you forget about, it's like you've forgotten about things, but you haven't, like they've just become something new. So that's really great. Like I I haven't managed to get out and watch the sunset or any of that this week, but that's for next week. I think this week was the big thing for me was to tackle some big things. And my last live stream, I was talking about all that, and I really, I'm a little bit shocked. Still, I'm still in a bit of shock because I had to um, talk about some difficult times, and I managed to go through that, and um, I hope I kept a positive outlook on things, and that um, you know I'm I'm doing what I can, but I'm not I'm not making progress like I want to, but I think I can't help but want to do more, but I know that I can only do so much at the moment, and I am getting triggered still at the moment. Like, so a friend of mine came over on the weekend and I got triggered, and then that made me upset, and then um I he's one of my only friends, so it's like I didn't want to lose him, and then at the same time, like, I was so triggered, I didn't want to speak to him at the time or since, and then I realized I have to actually fix this, but I didn't actually do it in the right way, and then it all turned out good in the end, like I ended up having a good conversation with him, and I explained to him how I'm under a lot of stress, and like, um, I get triggered very easily at the moment, and that, um, and he understood that. He does. He understood that, and then um, it's amazing how many things can happen in one single day. Like, I didn't expect today to be like this. Um, I was when I had a plan to do work around the house today and finish a few jobs, and I only got one of the jobs finished, but it was a big one, and but the whole day was full. So for where I am at the moment, it's like I'm doing enough. So I've still got um, I've still got things to do for the rest of the week. So um, I don't really want to talk about my mum much, but she's not well, and that's a big thing on my mind. And it fluctuates with what's going on. So um, you go from everything's fine, and then suddenly you have to like be there and like deal with all this stuff, and then it's fine again, like an hour later or 2 hours later, and you're like a little bit perplexed or worn out, like it's like, what happened, you know and then a few hours after that, I'm relaxed by that stage, and I'm looking back at what happened and how I dealt with it, and at least like today was a great. I I tell you what, like, um, we have a couple of we have organisations in Australia that deal with all different things, and I got a lot of education from a helpline, a few months ago, and I asked them a whole bunch of questions about things, and it they explained to me how to react in situations, and that's really helped me, and that helped me today. So I was able to do what I needed to do, and um, I'm really glad that it worked out smoothly and without any. It's really hard to explain, but it's um, discomfort. So, like, my mother wasn't in discomfort in the situation, and I was able to do a few things, and I couldn't have done those things if I hadn't rung the phone line, the helpline, several times, and um, well, quite a few times really, and then get some personal care from them. So if you have these sorts of things in your country and you find yourself in a situation where you're caring for someone, um, they're there to help you and they'll educate you. So it's what's helped me, and I'm really grateful for that. Um, I I'm really optimistic for the future now, and so I I want to keep doing a little bit each day, and I think within 6 months or 12 months, I'm going to be in a really great place. So, you know, and everything I've gotten back from doing this has it's been amazing. That's why I wanted to do this stream tonight, is to say thank you to everyone. It's not easy to just start talking about your things, about your life, and then you feel self-conscious because you're just sitting here talking, and am I saying the right things? And it's not really about am I saying the right things. It's like there is these are things that we all go through, and we're sharing the moments of reflection. I think it's reflection. So I'm sitting here looking into the camera. No, I'm not always looking into the camera, but I'm looking at the screen, and it's self-reflection, but it's also being reciprocated by the chat and comments after. And you know, I'm a real person, and there's real people out there, and they're talking to me. So it doesn't matter that I'm not out in society at the moment, like, and living like I was. You know, this is helping me so much. So I'm really appreciative, and I'm going to make sure that I keep doing things in my life. I've got a plan for tomorrow, and I've got a plan for the next day, what to do, and I'm I'm just going to keep doing that. Yes, Ange, that's so true. It is so overrated. it's can I talk about society being like shit? Is that all right? It's like, nah. Society is, if it wasn't for all the good people out there, I'd be so upset about the world. Like that's it. That is so it. It's like, man, the world's so full of just what's going on, and then you meet someone who that is just like, wow, this person's like on my wavelength and like they're friendly, and it's like, yes, thank you. You just made my day right there. So society is so overrated. Yes, it does have perks. It does have perks, except I don't have a girlfriend at the moment, and I haven't for a while, long time. Um, so it does well, that's separate to just being a hermit, I think, as well. And you come to terms with not having a partner and that sort of thing. Um, Hermit life is like, it's, if you can make something from it, like, as long as you're not like, if you're being productive to yourself, like for yourself, it can be such a good thing if you can free yourself from all the stress and strain that exists. It can be such a great thing. But, you know, it's like you have a point where you've got to and I do want to, I want to get a job that, like, after my mother passes, I know I'm going to enter back into full-time work, and I'm looking towards that. Yes, you can absolutely, and you can get stuck in there totally. And I think that's what happened to me on the weekend. Like I had been got stuck in my head, and then I took things personally too much. Um, and I think, when you're surrounded by people all the time, you're going to be more desensitized to things. But at the same time, like, going back to what you said earlier, like, things are so much overrated. You know, that I think everyone needs to know that. Like, there's so much. I don't. Without swearing, there's so much um, unneeded things in the world. BS, bullshit. I'll swear. I just try not to swear on stream, but you can't help it. There's just so much crap in the world, and it's in everything. And you just give up. You just like, why contribute to this? There has to be a better way, and I think there is. And I think people are trying to show people around them that there is a better way, and they hit a wall. Like, they just the, the there's so much resistance against the change that needs to happen in the world, and I think it's almost impossible at the moment with the way things are. But that doesn't mean you don't give up, and that doesn't mean you don't stop doing those things. Like, stay true to your values, and um, enjoy the little things, like watching the sunset, and appreciating a humble meal, and being alone. like that again, being the hermit, you know, it can be the greatest thing, like you say. Like I'm in hermit stage at the moment, and I know that it's not going to be forever. Maybe it will. Like maybe I'll stay like this for a long time, but I have already been in this. I have been here for a while, and I feel like like I'm about to re-emerge into society. But unfortunately, I'm very sensitive to bullying, so like I'm afraid of being around too many people and like people being smart or bullying, or I've suffered narcissistic abuse and stuff, and it just shuts me. Yeah, thanks, Angela. Yeah, we're here together. There are why do people act like nasty? Why do they act like that? Because it makes us want to be a hermit. You know. I'm just reading your comment from earlier. Like the Buddhists call it monkey or elephant mind. The way humans are all silly. Yes, that's great. It's so good to think about it like that because monkeys run around through the jungle and through the bush, and the elephants stomp through, but they both are very solitary on their own too. Like monkeys are, they're in a group, and so are elephants, but I don't know. Like I'm just overwhelmed by being connected to people at the moment. Like right now, I'm chatting on the internet, and you know, it's I'm not I'm enjoying it because I've been so closed off for so long, and normally when I speak to people, they're like people I've known for most of my life, and it's so different. And I'm here talking to a stranger, and I feel like I know you because there's a connection there, and it's amazing. We live in an amazing time. Unfortunately, we also live in this time where things are difficult, and they've always been difficult for people. And it's it's for me, like I've always been one of those people that, like, I don't go against the grain, but I think differently. So people in a lot of s- um, people in structures don't like the fact that I think differently. Like I'll give you an example. Like we have I believe in environmental, like saving the environment and protecting it and preserving it. And I believe in doing no harm to the environment, and humans should do less harm to the environment, and we should be more efficient. One of the solutions that has been set up here in Australia is um, they want to carve up our mountain ranges and build roads all through them all and put wind farms all through these mountain ranges, which is gonna they're already doing it and it's damaging everything. And like there's all these animals that live there, koalas, koalas and all these like rare species of animals and trees and everything, birds, and they're putting all these they've started, but they want to put in thousands and thousands of these wind farms. Like we have like um, a, what's called the Great Dividing. Exactly, it's ridiculous. Like we have in like are you in where are you, Ange? Are you in America or are you in like but I know like I'm thinking of other places that have mountain ranges like this. It's like 3,000 um 3,500 kilometers. So it's like the Appalachian, yeah, USA. So it's like the Appalachian mountain range. Bigger. It's actually bigger than the Appalachians. And it's like massive mountain range, and they're all gonna be wind farms, and they've got to like, and they're destroying the very tops of the mountains. Like they're digging up and making these roads just so they can make the wind farms, and they're clearing all this land on the tops of the mountains. And these are in places that were untouched. They hadn't been destroyed and they were left alone. They were protected by the fact that they were hard to get to, and but old growth forests like rainforests, and not necessarily rainforests but like forests that were untouched by humans are now getting ripped apart. I know it's it's not the only way. Like we're surrounded by oceans. We could be like generating energy off the water, just the waves going up and down and the tides. It's ridiculous, and it's heartbreaking to see this because they're doing it to the very tops of the mountains, like the very tops of these the ridge lines. And why? There's no need. And it makes it even worse because they have to put in power lines everywhere through the forest. And this is in Australia too, where like it's bushfires go through places. It's it doesn't make any sense, and it's so like why? You know, if anything, like why can't we just use a little bit less power? That would be a great thing to do. I would pledge that. I would say I'll use the internet 2 days a week instead of 5 days a week. Something, I don't know. Like I already don't drive much, and even when I was driving, I hardly drove long distances. Everyone should be able to say like we do a bit less. Don't do these silly things and put in, like I'm all for like I'm an environmentalist and I'm trying to tell people no one wants to listen because in Australia here, that's what I'm saying. Like people are too scared to actually say anything. Like you say like, but you look at what they're doing. Why aren't you like upset about this? And they don't say anything. They're just silent, And I I can't understand why. It's like why? And the actual wind farms themselves, like the turbines, are so bad for the environment. There's so many, like what you were saying before. There's so many ways to generate energy. Why like have to make these massive roads through the mountains and dig everything up, and like they're using dynamite to blow up the roads to make the roads, and then they have to put the power lines through, and then the thing is these wind turbines are only going to last for 20 years, so they're going to have to tear them down and put a new one up in 20 years time. Like it couldn't we just like say as a like species or humans or whatever, like say like let's just use less power. That would be the most simple way to do it. Like I'm happy to I already use less power like than I used to, and I'm happy to do less use less power like, going forward if it means that we're not going to tear apart our natural environment and pretend it's actually for the environment. Like it doesn't make any sense. And this is I think should be international significance, because the Great Dividing Range is like what has been like it's the thing in Australia. Like we have this one massive mountain range that goes from the tip of Cape York down to Victoria, and it it, it the whole eastern coastline of Australia. You go inland, and there's this massive mountain range, and it goes the whole way. And like the state that I'm in, like they're going to put wind farms across the whole section of it, and it's going to wreck it, and it's bad for the animals, and it's bad for the environment, and it's not going to generate that much power. And the wind farms that they're going to build are going to actually like they can't be recycled. Like once they're stuffed, they throw it away and bury it, and they don't generate that much power. Like I'm sure there's better things, and it's not just solar. It's like I think the best solution is like ocean. Yes, the ocean. That's it. Biodigestion. Exactly. That's exactly it. Sodium batteries. So many alternatives, and it doesn't have to be this grid that's all connected. It can just be like communities that store power and generate power for themselves rather than being this massive thing. But the biodigestion thing's massive. Like I was looking at this. There's people in Africa, Africans that are doing it for themselves. Like they're building biodigestive gas reactors that like they're doing it in villages everywhere, and they're doing it themselves. They're not waiting for like international groups to tell them how to do it. They're doing it themselves, and they're building these beautiful things. But they're not. It's just enough for the village, and like you put all your waste in it, and it just generates methane, and then you can cook off it. You don't need much power. So the future can be bright if we just think more like I don't like to use the word sustainably because it's been overused, and um, but we need to do it in a more efficient way, and just do less and not need to do more. You know, um, a big thing at the moment is like all this AI stuff. Like it's generating so much electricity. So we've been sitting here on the internet for years watching YouTube videos and getting on Facebook and like browsing the internet. That all uses electricity. But what's happening now with like all this push, it's actually doubling what's needed. So we're not asking for it. Like we're happy with what we got already. Like, you know, we could do with a bit less of it actually. Just like maybe less Facebook and all those things, YouTube and everything. Like YouTube's great. I'm here right now. This is how we're communicating. And I'm conscious of that. But it's nothing compared to what's being wasted. That's why I don't feel bad, and I feel actually fortunate that I can have this one time, not one time, well, it is one time now, but I can have this conversation and I don't feel bad that I'm using electricity and energy for this conversation because we're like whoever I'm talking to is getting something out of this. And it's nothing compared to what's actually being used overall, like for different means and purposes. So you look at you look at the you look at the world and you just go, why is why are all these things that that's probably Ange, I'm just reading your comment. That's the best thing you just said there. Do what you love and do your part. See, you do both. So you're doing what you love, but you do your part. That is if everyone did what you just said, like the world would be such a better place, you know. And so many people are doing it. So many people are doing that, but they're also doing their part. And there's people doing their part and they're actually doing what they love, and that's sad when you see that because they're missing out and um, but overall, when you look at the other side of that, there's this whole wasted side, you know, um, things that are not necessary and use a lot of energy, and then people not doing the things that they should be doing for themselves. So if we can make it like if people followed that more, and it's not difficult, I think I know this is like a little bit out there, like theory or idea, but with all the cost of living and the way that groceries cost so much, there should be a thing that in each country they work out how to do it, and certain food items are basically so made really cheap, but it's not like as it is today. Like, so if you go into a grocery store today, food that is processed is really cheap, and it's like because it's all subsidized by like sugar or corn and all different things like that. And it's cheaper to buy food that's not good for you than it is to buy like food that is good for you. And it should be that if all the basic food requirements like beans and potatoes and like simple vegetables and like some herbs, like there should be a big list of things. And like if they were all grown, like if it's subsidized instead of corn and sugar, and you could go into a supermarket and buy, like you could have $2 in your pocket, or on your credit card, or you not credit card, your card, but I whatever, like your currency. You could get $2 and buy enough food to live for like 2 days just off that. Like you wouldn't have it wouldn't matter if other stuff's more expensive. And so it would actually mean that, you know, the big end of town and like, the big corporations and things, they could still make their money, but like everyone would still be okay. And but it's not like that. Like you go into a supermarket and you want to buy a bag of potatoes and a bag of onions, and just basic stuff, and you're still walking out with like $20. You know, um, I used to love like go back 10 years, and $5 I could buy a bag of potatoes, a bag of carrots, and a bag of onions, and you could live on that, and you could cook some amazing food with it, and it'll last you for like almost a week. You can't do that anymore, and it's sad. It's like, why not? Like, I don't understand. Like, our priorities need to be readjusted as humans. I think, and that's where I was saying with that, like certain vegetables, certain food, it shouldn't be out of the reach of everyone, and you should be able to get it easy enough so that if you're going to take the time to peel potatoes, whatever it is, and cook it, it's almost so cheap that you don't need money, because everything else is so expensive. It should be like there, you know. And it was like that not long ago. Like, not long ago, you could buy all this basic food, and if you took the time to cook it, like prepare it, you could make nutritious meals. It's still affordable, but it's nothing like what it was. And it doesn't matter. Like, for me, like, because I don't go out like I used to, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, I used to go out and see music, and sometimes I'd go to the movies, but mostly go see live music. That was my entertainment. But even that was always affordable. $10 you'd spend, and you'd see three bands play a gig, and nowadays it's like it still happens, but it's just harder. It's like they don't get the opportunity to. I don't know. I don't know why everything's gone this way. You know, there are people that are keeping it keeping it real type thing. You know, yeah, that COVID did a big thing. Like it pushed prices up massive, and it changed everything. So that did change a lot. But the world, I think the world can go back to some like affordability, because most people are uh, happy to deal with a bit less, but like still have a quality of life. So there's a lot of people out there that are doing things for free, like or very cheap, and musicians are a big group that do that because they have to. And unfortunately, like, you know, I had this I've always had this idea where I wanted to start a business doing a soup kitchen. And I said that to my sister the other day, and she goes, "Well, we should do that and like just give it away." And I was just like, "That's the best idea." So like, because there's all these people that are living in tents near a park, in a park in Brisbane, and she goes, "Let's like make soup and just take it down to the park and just give it to them. Like, don't worry about making a soup cart. Like, let's just do it." And so we're going to do that. It hopefully like in the next month or 2 months, like we're going to do that. We're going to cook two big pots of soup, And it's not like they're home like, well, they are homeless people, but, like, they've got jobs, most of them. There's all these people living in tents in my city that don't have a house, you know, and they're living in tents because there's no houses for them to live in, and it's like on musicians' money, it says, "Pay the piper somewhere." Well, it's it, like, they're used to it. They're used to, like, just getting by. I think, like, I've never made much money in my life. Like, um, there's a few times where I did, like, 60-hour, 70-hour weeks, and that's like, yeah, that's like 12, 14-hour days all week, and, um, I couldn't keep that up, and that's the only way I actually made big money. It was like, "Oh, wow, look how much money I made," and it's like, "I can't do this next week. If I do this next week, I'm gonna fall over." I don't know how, like, people that get to make good wages, like, good on them, but, like, at the same time, how do they do it? Like, I've never seen it, you know? I've only ever had, um, jobs that pay me basic wage, and I've been happy, though. I've been happy to, like, get by, and, um, having stress-free work is really good. That's another thing people should have. That's true, Ange. Like, the more you s um, the more you do, like, the more you want to, like, climb the ladder of, you know, the big end of town, the big industry, you're selling your soul in a way, because you give up a lot of time, but at the same time, like, you can't, the more you sign on to things, you can't actually, um you've got no voice. And I think that's why, like, for instance, like, I can't believe no one's saying anything about these wind farms in the mountains, because it's the worst destruction in our environment in Australia's history, and no one's saying anything about it. And it's because people are like, they've sold their soul to these companies, and they can't say anything anymore. So if they say anything, like, they're going against, like, some rule, and, like, oh, I'm going to lose my job if I complain about this. It's like, you're only allowed to protest for certain things. So there's the cognitive dissonance and the self censorship that comes along with, um, working for bigger things. But we should just keep talking. Like, I get really upset about this because, um, in Australia, like, we have these massive destruction of our environment happen all the time by mining companies and, like, gas companies and now wind turbines, and no one, like, people protest about and complain about some of the things, but then they go silent, like, about some of them. So there's this real strange. I think, yeah, that's a great idea. Make a documentary about it, because it is like, it's our national treasure, and it's being, like, torn up. So I'll see what I can do to contribute to that. You know, that could be my next thing. Although I could become afraid that I'm gonna get targeted because I like going against the grain. So I'll have to like somehow do it without getting like taken out. That's the thing. People don't speak up because they're afraid that they're gonna have their life ruined. Yeah, that's it. Stay safe. I want to help people and have a community of friends around me. And this is but at the same time, I agree with what you're saying. I should really speak up about this because and I already have. Like I've been speaking to people about this saying like why look at this. This is ridiculous. Like this is like what's happening is worse than all of the other environmental destruction that's happened in the last like 30, 40 years. And it's happening. It hasn't even it started now, but it's gonna get worse. Like we got time to stop it now. And no one's saying anything. Like we've got a political party in Australia that is all about the environment and they're silent about this. I don't understand. Like they're completely silent about this and they're an environmentalist party. I don't get it. Like they were founded, yeah, it's well, they're called the Greens is the party. And also the party in power should also be doing something about it because they care about the environment as well, but they're not saying anything. And like we had a big thing in Tasmania, which is the island at the base of Australia. They dammed a, a river, the Franklin River, and like everyone protested the Franklin River damming, and eventually they made the dam. But once they did that, it actually provided power for the whole island, and it's still providing power for the island. So they destroyed the environment in order to create power. And you could sort of look at it like, oh yeah, it's not that bad, but it really is bad because it was such a large area, and it was like this monumental thing for the country. And like it's like everyone just remembers that, and they haven't done that again. Like um, we had like in America, like you'd have um, fracking, and we had that here. They called it a different name, coal seam gas. They did the same thing. Like they bought up all these land, like properties, and like put chemicals in the ground to like bring the gas up, and it was all sold off overseas for like we never got any money from it here, but like we've got all these destroyed properties now and for nothing. And but like good there are places for wind turbines, but just not at the top of these mountain ridges that have like wild wilderness places that like are full of like wildlife and koalas and like everything, like put them like or there's got to be better ways, like bio like what you're saying before, Ange, is like biogas, and just us using less energy, you know um, making things last longer. Like that's what we should be doing. Is like I wear like I don't know. This shirt's like got tears in it and stuff. Like I don't care. Like I'll wear the shirt until it falls apart. Um, Most of my clothes I get from op shops. You know, um, My Ute like 25 years old, you know? Yeah, that's it, you're wearing a blanket. That's it, and it's summertime there, Sam. Aren't you in England? But that's like you're still wearing a blanket. You must be in a cold, but it is cold in England all the time. Yeah, totally. That's it. Like we don't need all this stuff. I you know, yeah, that's it. Trees do that. They'll make your house that we've got a lot of trees. Mum and dad have got all these big trees at home, and it means that in summertime it's really cool compared to what it would be, but it also means um, in wintertime it's even colder. That's why I'm wearing a beanie right now because I'm pretty cold otherwise. It's like trees are awesome. They do they do amazing things. That's why I'm so upset that they're cutting trees down to like put wind farms up. Like we need power, but we it's just insanity. And the people that like the environmental groups that you'd think would be caring about this stuff, they're not saying anything. I don't get it. They're just silent. What do you do? Yes. I'm just going to read out the comments so if people don't see it. Like the point is that the more sustainable options, also metal for the turbines has to be mined and processed and shipped. Lots of water used, huge footprint. That's it. Like just the gearbox of the wind turbines is like hundreds of tons or something, or 100 ton. I don't know what it is, but and that's all metal and the turbine blades are like fiberglass and they can't be recycled. Um, where like when there are like there is offshore wind turbines in England, in the UK, and in Germany and stuff where they are really good because they actually work all the time. But where they're wanting to put these wind turbines in Australia along the Great Dividing Range is like um, in all these places, they don't get wind all the time. They only get wind every so often. So it's a waste of just a waste putting in there. Like you need to have thousands of them to actually have a constant power supply. And then when you add up all the energy that goes into making all those turbines and putting in the infrastructure, it's not environmental at all, and it's not saving the environment. So that it doesn't make sense. And if you try and tell someone that, they think you're being negative about it, and it's like you're just trying to explain that you do like you do like wind turbines, but just not in the right, not everywhere, and not in they shouldn't be everywhere, and there should be alternatives. And there's so many ways, like ocean power. Like we have every day, the ocean goes up and down in its tide, and you can have these things that generate energy off the tide. And you also have the waves. So you have wave generation, and the rivers, all the rivers could be like capturing energy off the river. Like solar panels are great, but like you They break down. They don't only last for 10, 20 years. And so it sounds like I'm being negative, but there's so many other ways, and it goes back to, like, if we look at our waste, like we have waste that is the stuff that you throw in the bin. It generates, like, if food waste. All that food waste, if that was collected, it would generate gas from that, and we could cook our food off the gas from the off that. If we collected it all. If you go back hundreds of years into the, like, Middle Ages and things, people's human feces and stuff, that was what, um, it was all kept. No, that's it. They get all your they get your chips too, mate. They get your chips. The seagulls, they come and take it. So you must live near the ocean, Sam, or where there's seagulls. That's awesome. But yeah, that's it. Like, there's um they're crafty, the old seagulls. So, but that's nature. Like, nature will always take, like, and redistribute that energy, and we need to, like, copy that somehow and make it like how we live. So rather than trying to, you know, create extra or store extra, we should just, like, live within balance with it, and getting used to not having as much, you know. Um, but like what I was saying just before, like, um, back in, like, the Middle Ages, people used to um, collect all their urine and their feces, and, like, people would take it. So they didn't have, like, sewage systems, because it was all put into gardens and everything. The urine was used for, like, making dyes and things like that. Like, nothing was wasted back in the day, and now it's like it all gets flushed down the in through mixed with water and wasted. Oh, thanks, Angela. I know a lot of things, but I didn't go to uni. But I'm looking to go back and study now. I just I'm one of those people that, like, I'm always searching for things. I'm always, you know, listening, and um, it's I, it's never got me, like, that good job. That's unfortunate. Like, I've often been working in places, and I've known a lot about stuff, and it's never, like, benefited me. But I think it it's always helped me, and the internet's been a great thing for me to be able to just learn about stuff. But I I wish I could, like, do something about what I know about. I sort of feel like it's wasted. Like, I've wasted my um, mind or intellect. But it's not too late, is it, Ange? Like, I can actually do something and keep learning, and I need to learn more about stuff. So that's it. I'm looking at an online degree. Exactly. That's what I'm looking at. Um, it's going to take me a year and a half, maybe, and I can't start it at the moment because my mum's not well. Awesome. Maybe I can start it now, like while I'm doing all this stuff, but because it's going to take me time. So, did you study online as well, or you got your degree at a college or something? But that's cool. It's never too late, you know. Awesome. Online. It's never too late. Like and I think the way the world is at the moment, it needs people to be like getting qualifications for things. So if you're worried about trying to find work, all you need to do is like study something that will get you some qualification, and then you'll get the work. Because um, even though there's so many people on the planet, there's so much work out there, and you find something that means something to you, and then you'll be able to follow that path. And I sort of neglected that. Yes, I struggled with the structure myself, and like I tried studying online like um, 8 years ago, and I failed. Like I got almost through the course, and then I couldn't complete it. But I think I'm ready this time. Like I wasn't at the time, I wasn't able to think properly, so it was really struggling to actually um, complete assignments and things. But I think I need the structure now, and so it obviously worked for you. That's good. So like that's what, if it doesn't have to increase your whole, like you didn't have to go through a massive increase. In a little bit more pay is always better, and it's more security, like, and confidence, you know. Um, so that's really great that you went through that, and and did you find it hard? Like you like the structure, but were there any difficulties with studying online? Because that's what I found the first time is um, just the difficulty of like self-paced work. Sam, yeah, mate. That's I'm flattered. Too intelligent to believe the crap that I try and teach you. Thank you. That's made me laugh. But I've always had troubles in um, dealing with the bollocks or the bullshit, and I don't like make trouble. But I used to be a bit like, I didn't succeed in high school because I got to a point where I gave up. I wish I'd focused a bit more then, and then yeah, find the right program for you, Ange. That's what Ange said. College, it's love or hate. It's a love hate, but was good for me. Yeah. Well, I hope you got to you got to persevere. I think that's what you persevered, Ange, and that's what the main thing is that um and then afterwards, like you've made it. And even like getting through some form of study, um it does build, like, not just what you learn, but just going through the process. And it's not like, I think most courses are the same, where like you just got to go through it, and you got to tick all the boxes, and it helps if it's something you're really interested in. Uh, but you are gonna um, if it's something you're really passionate about and you've got like problems with the way the world is, like it is going to be difficult. And yeah, that's it. Like I'm really enjoying this conversation tonight. This is so awesome. Like I'm on the internet chatting. I never thought I'd be doing this 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I was like going through hell, and I've gone from that to like this now. It's like it's such a life change, and we're having a great conversation. It's like really constructive. Like where this is like a saying, like a French saying, "Remake the world," and it's like I don't know if it's just French. I think it's an old saying, but mate, I don't know where it comes from. And that's what we're doing now. Like we're just talking about the world, and we're like, how would it be better if we just made it the way we wanted it? You know, because it's not the way it should be. And we understand that it's not the way it should be. And there's big, powerful things that are keeping it a certain way, like banks and militaries and powerful people and all this stuff. Like we can't change that. So, but what we can do is we can imagine a way that we want it to be better, and we can make it better for ourselves. So, and that it goes right back to what we're talking about is, if you're in a point in your life and you don't know what you're doing, like think about learning something new that can actually give you a new start and new way of like it will most likely be to do with like a job or work, but it's probably going to have more to do with what you want to do in life. So yeah, we're remaking the world. We want to have, like Ange said, we want to have biodigestive reactors. Sorry, excuse me, I was burp. We want to have biodigestive reactors generating methane from our waste, and we'll have a few wind farms, but we don't want thousands of them. And we want to have wave power. We'll have a few solar farms, but we don't want to have like whole massive ones. We want to have a bit of everything, and we want food to be cheaper. You should be able to like take $5 and go to the shop and buy like a bag of potatoes and a bag of carrots and a bag of onions, and all those things. There's a whole bunch of things that we want in the world that we've come up with tonight. So that's good. Morning, Taco. How you going, mate? So it's like I think we could keep going with that. Like, what other things could we do to make the world better? Like things that are feasible, like not necessarily like the big end of town wants to do. Oh, thank you, Ange. Like, I'm gonna get back into making creative stuff. Like, I'm very like, I feel like I feel like I'm sort of diminished, or in a way, like, or limited in what I can do in life, but maybe not. Maybe I can come up with some cool creative stuff coming up forwards. I used to do. I taught myself a bit of carpentry, and I wanted to build a house for myself. And I always have these ideas about new ways of doing things, and so I'm not giving up on being creative. I had this idea, like uh, this was last year when I was going through some tough times, and I thought about a new job, and I thought about, wouldn't it be cool to make like a business where you make like prefabricated like buildings so people could assemble them themselves. And people are already doing that, but just doing it the traditional way, like simple little houses or something like that. Thanks, Sam. Like, yeah, you watched that. I got to get back into playing the flute. I haven't played it for like a while. It's difficult. It's like it's a Japanese flute, and it's very difficult to play. And I I need to focus on that. And you know what? You saying that has given me a reason to actually get back into it. So thank you, Sam. Like I'm gonna get back into that. And thank you, Ange, as well, for like saying you want to see what I'm gonna get creative about. Like this is giving me so many positive things to do, you know. Yes, yes, Taco, like log cabin type buildings. Look, but they don't have to have walls, you know, like you can have a like a building that's just got no walls, it's just a structure. Thanks, Ange. Thank you so much for the chat tonight. Have a beautiful day yourself. Like awesome. But I've got a big smile on my face. Hey, we had a great chat. Really made my day. Awesome. I hope you have an awesome day. That's so good. Yeah, that's it, Taco. Like you could actually have just the basic structure and the people themselves finish it off themselves. Like they could, if they want a solid wall, they can put a solid wall, or they could have um, timber slats or whatever. Um, but you build it all in a under a roof in a warehouse factory type thing, and it's got to be a nice place for everyone. And then you send it to the person's house, and then someone goes on a weekend, they get to build it, sort of like gazebos or um, backyard sheds type thing. We have a big problem with housing in Australia. There's a lot of people that are homeless, and like tiny homes and things like that. Tiny homes are great, but like I think they try and actually make too much. Um, like they try and make a solid, like especially ones that have got wheels. Like yeah, that's it. Like the cargo crate homes, but like go even imagine even simpler than that. Like not everyone needs, like back in the day, everyone just had like a room and that's all you needed. Like if you're in a it is completely different if you're in a place that's cold. So like Sam's over in England, and so like you know the ones that have there that have to insulate it, but the ones you have here could be you don't need insulation. So I think it all depends on where you live. You could have a basic structure that is modified depending on where you live in the world. So that's one idea I had. Like, and the idea is like you build a company that's it's not even about me or it's even the owners. It's actually about the people that make the actual product, and they're not building it to actually make money. They're building it to just supply like a structure for people to live. So we've got a big problem in Australia where we need to build like 50,000 homes every month, something like that, to like catch up with the fact that we're short on houses because we don't have enough houses in Australia. So that people are like not there's homeless people, but there's also people stuck with trying to find houses. So everyone's like trying to like quickly build all these houses, and it's like you don't have to build these massive houses. Just build simple little structures for people, because most people are happy to live in a humble little house rather than like this massive mansion or something big. But there's, I don't know. I always come up with solutions for things, and they're always they're not the ones that the mainstream's going to want to do, unfortunately. You know, because Tacos says, I think they may stem from the people trying to help being so used to a certain quality of living in those extravagant houses. Yeah, that's it. Like I think people have become accustomed to a certain degree of like comfort, and I guess I'm a little bit more rugged. You know, I'm actually sitting on my mattress. I'm not on a chair or anything. Like I'm pretty like used to like dealing with. I'm not sitting on a couch or in a chair or anything. I've got a lot of comfort. I've got a lot of books around me, as you can see, and that. But yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah, that's it. I'm an outdoorsy sort of person. I like. I don't. I like comfort, but I don't need it. You know, and I have. I've got like 4 or 5 really nice shirts, which made really well and all that. Um, but all of my clothes besides that are all op shops. Like I just go to op shops and get op shop clothes, and I find it's good. You know, finding a balance between that, because then for me, like um, I buy cheap shoes. But then when I buy them, I can afford to buy 2 pairs at the same time because they're cheap. And then I used to wear them for work, and they'd get like worn out and covered in concrete and dirt and dust and torn apart, and it didn't bother me. But at the same time, I think about that, and I think, should I have bought like really expensive boots that last me for like 3 years or whatever? And it's like, well, I don't know. I don't like thinking about like it's pretty upsetting for me, like that we get all this amazing stuff, and then you think about where it comes from. And I worked in warehouses and factories for a while, and so I know what it's like to be making things like that. So like, and then I think, we get it pretty good. Like I do feel sort of like I feel for the people that make these clothes for us. So I appreciate it, and I try and wear clothes until they fall apart. So um, that's it, mate. Old Spice, Manly. That's it. I look like it. When I was wearing my shirt the other night, it looked like I was like old school. It's more like a woodcutter type thing. Yes, mate. Saving the money secondhand as much as you can. My Utes are like I was saying, it's like 25-year-old Ute. So for me, that's a great environmental thing, because the vehicle itself has already been around for that long, and I don't drive it very much. And if I look after it, it's actually better than buying an electric vehicle or anything like that. It's like I'm hardly using any fuel, and it's already there. So you like keeping things running as long as you can, and cars, they used to make them to last. They don't make them to last anymore. So Laradis Quadrata, how you going, brother? I'm good, mate. I'm having a good chat tonight with all these people. I started off talking about my last few live streams and that, and then we just started talking about remaking the world and talking about making things better, and talking about um, the environment. We're talking about like making why do they wreck the environment to make it say that they're saving the environment, but it's actually making it worse. So we've been talking about a lot of cool things. Taco's saying, yeah, I think the fact you're aware, it's nice. Not many people think about where stuff comes from. Yeah, I think that's great, mate. Thank you for that. Like, I I think I am aware, and I do feel a bit of guilt because I do think about the people making this stuff in factories, and I know that they, like, for instance, this T-shirt, I bought it from an op shop, and it was made in a factory somewhere, and the people that sewed this together, they probably made hardly any money, but they might have had a good quality of life, and that's what we forget about in the West, that we like um, people in other countries might not make much money, but they might have a really enjoyable life, even though they don't make much money. So as long as their quality of life is good and they enjoy what they're doing, that makes it a little bit better. So, but certainly being aware of where stuff comes from, And I mean, even this, like, I like wearing natural stuff. This is like polyester, and it's like, you know, most of my beanies are natural. I have to wear a beanie because I'm bald. I get cold. So if I keep doing these live streams in a month or 2 months, you'll see my bald head, but not yet because it's too cold. So I've got to stay warm. Yeah, that's it, Taco. Culture of buying things, a new car every few years. That's it. 2001 Grand Am. That's it. Keep them going. It's actually better for the environment if you're not driving lots of kilometers, and it's a car that's going to last for a long time. Every year that you keep it going is so much better, because every time they have to build a new vehicle, is all the iron and just everything that goes into it. I mean, it's employing people to make it, but there's less and less people making them. It's more robots these days anyway. But it's a good way to look at things, like, um, and if you're buying a new car, it's good to like really do your research. Like, is it going to last? Why buy something? And that's what gets me is some of the electric vehicles that have been produced, then they're going to be scrap metal in a couple of years because they're going to be useless. So it's not good for the environment. The original Prius, you remember the original Prius that looked like a cockroach? That was really well designed, because even that one, like, you could take the battery out and change it. It was a big block, and they changed all that. Like, Toyota was onto it back in the day with that stuff, and so you got to give credit to companies that really do make good attempts to make things efficiently and make things last. I think that's it. That's it, Sam. You got a 2004. That's it. Like, they're dangerous. Like, totally. They can run off the road, and no way. Yeah. I think the best, like my opinion is like hybrid vehicle that doesn't have a big battery. So the engine is still petrol or diesel, and then you have a small battery and an electric motor, and then it's efficient. It uses less petrol or whatever for the mileage, and I think that's the best option, and it still is today. If you were to buy a car today, a hybrid would be the best one to get because you're still saving on the environment, but you're not like all electric, all battery stuff is bad for the environment, from my opinion. Yeah, that's it. High like Quadrata's saying, yeah, much more. It's much more better than full electric. Taco's saying, I'm in the US. Just a week ago, I visited Netherlands. It's amazing how much they were focused on recycling. In the US, we do not care. That's true, Taco. Although um, there are some massive recycling plants in America, which is good. So like you might not see it, but like they do recycle a lot of plastic and stuff, but you just don't see it. Like in Australia here, we have three different bins that get collected once a week by the council when you have your council bins. So we have a green bin, which is like leaves and plant branches and plant material, and that gets recycled into it gets made into compost. And then we have the recycling bin, which all gets recycled, but and then with general waste, which is like thrown in the big pile. But the um, a big thing about Western countries is they send a lot of their waste over to China and they burn it. So you pay your own country to recycle, and then they send it to China and they burn it, and it's just disgusting. So it's a big problem. They stopped like a few years ago. They stopped actually. It got so bad because the Chinese people were getting poisoned and dying from all the recycling that they were having to do, and it was all at the expense of like these Western countries that were basically sending it there, and they weren't getting paid much to do it. So if your country's doing it there locally, that's great, making things out of it. But that's cool. You went traveling. Like I haven't traveled much. It's good to be able to do that. You know. Um, the Radis Quadrata says, just thinking that batteries we use today are mostly still same batteries of 200 years ago, so not really efficient. That's true. Like um, the the technology hasn't really got there. It needs more work. This is I don't know if you can notice the way I'm talking. Like I'm actually having like this is the most happiness I've had for a while. So I'm really appreciating this conversation. Like wow, I've smiled and I've been laughing and things. Like how good is like I really appreciate this. Um, Taco's saying that's good. I guess it's the culture because we don't just really sort our recycling, and many people just throw it in the garbage. I don't know if it gets recycled. I'm not educated on that. Well, they have big, um, massive factory warehouses where they put it on conveyor belts. So even though you don't sort it, like if you're throwing it all in general waste, like so in America, if you don't have a recycling bin, we have yellow, green, and red. So yellow's recycling, green's plant materials, and red is general. If you don't have those stuff, then if you only have one bin, then I don't know what happens. Then maybe that means that the only recycling comes from bigger places that collect it. But I mean, I think we're getting better at all this stuff over time, but it's sad that we we do waste so much, and we throw out so much. So I notice when I um, sl- slow down in what I'm consuming, the bin will like be empty almost at the end of the week, and it'll be like that often, and I'll be like, well, I'm not really producing much, and that's only when if and that's where it comes back to buying like whole foods, like basic vegetables. Like you're gonna have if you've got a compost heap in your backyard, then most of your stuff's not even going in the bin. Um, Taco's saying, yeah, I was paid by a small company I work for first time international. I loved it a lot. So you got to go travel and got you didn't have to pay for it. That's even better. That's good. Enjoy that when you can. Yeah, that's Quadrata's saying, yeah, so everyone can feel better about themselves. That's true. Like I think a big part of doing um doing these things that have a benefit for the environment and stuff, like there is an element to that. And um sometimes it's not like it doesn't actually do much better for it. um but if it does, like that's good. And if it does, there's so many contradictions with waste and recycling, and it will upset you when you look into it, because electronic waste is another one, like our old computers and our old televisions and things. Most of that gets sent to China in big ships, and the poorest people in China are pulling them apart and they're burning it, and it's pretty sad and dark what is the outcome. um So they'll pull the printer apart and they'll get the metal bits out of it, and they'll burn the chips off the thing, and they'll melt the metal down, and they're going to breathe in all the smoke, and they get cancer and stuff, and it pollutes the environment around them. So we don't see that stuff, but we might actually think we're doing a good thing. We think, oh, I'm going to recycle my computer, and you give it to a recycler, but you don't know where it's going to get recycled. So I think I think most of the Western countries that are doing this should actually feel a bit of guilt for what they've done, because there's actually whole section like there's sections in China where us actually this recycling goes on, and they're really polluted now, and it's really bad, and we don't know about it, and we actually give our electronic waste and our plastic, even our plastic here in Australia, goes over there. So the plastic, where not all of it, but like a, a large portion, because we can't process it here because we don't have an industry for it here. So it's like, and the same with the States. America sends their stuff over to China for that. And why? Like, why can't they deal with it in their own country? And it's the same here. Why can't we deal with our own waste? And it's sad to find out that there are poor people in China that are actually getting cancer from like breathing in burning the smoke from the um, burning of like this stuff. I don't know. It's really you can really get upset thinking about this stuff, and um, but it does. If anything, make stuff last as long as you can. Even computers, like my computer's now 6 years old, and I'm going to keep it running. Like I've only had like 5 computers in my life. Like I've made them last for a long time. I don't hold it against people that buy computers more often, but you don't need to. Like if you get a good quality computer, it'll last you for 5, 10 years. Even if you're playing video games, like you don't necessarily need to buy one every year and all that stuff. Same saying the Bible says, put fat on the ground for the animals to eat. We did that, our scraps that have food, but we'd rather put it in the bin. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is there is a lot of truths and like truths that are written in the Bible and that like that you forget about. Like this is stuff that was written thousands of years ago, and it doesn't matter if you're religious or not. Like you got to respect what's in there. That like you can learn from it, um, and there's lots of things in there that you can learn from it. Um, Taco's back. He says, "I'll be honest. I'm guilty of technology waste. It's one area I could get better at." Well, that's all right, but um, maybe if your computer's broken and you can't like like I'm guilty of that too. I've got my old computer up there. This is it here. I haven't turned it on for like a few years, and it's still usable. Um, and I but that's from like 15 years ago, not 15, 14 years ago, and it still work. If I turn it on tomorrow, it'll still work. But I haven't thrown it away yet. So um, it's difficult. Like I we do use these things, so you're not alone, Taco. It's like I think we all sort of have that thing, but I think if you the next one you buy, just look at maybe um, the main thing is that you're going to buy one you want it to last a long time anyway. So um, I don't know. It's difficult, and you get the wrong one. Like the problem with computers is if you get the wrong one, it'll break. So you want to get one that's a decent quality that will last long enough. But things like Apple Watch and iPhones and things like where they every year and they become obsolete that way. Whereas at least with laptops and stuff, they can last like you know um, you can get a decent amount of use out of them before they become obsolete. Quadrata's saying, I don't want to be controversial, but I heard once that Australia is the country that produces more waste than per person. It's true. We do have a bad waste thing. I think our energy use is not so bad, but our waste is high. Um, I think that's true. Per capita, that we waste more than other countries, um, and that's something we need to learn to be better at. You know. Um, so Taco is saying I do try and donate my old tech when possible. So well, that's perfect. That's all you need to do. Donating it to someone that can use it. Um, that's perfect. That's keeping it going. So it's not wasting it. So you shouldn't feel guilty about anything, mate, if you're trying to do those things. And as long as you're not buying the latest thing every year, then you're not one of those people that's the thing is like it's a small percentage of people that waste much more and buy the new thing every year. Most people buy something and have it last as long as they can possibly make it last, you know. Taco's saying, yeah, I feel like it's one of those things you need a lot of skills to be in to be able to reuse it because it gets obsolete eventually. That's true. Like, um, with old computers, you can keep them running, and if you know what you're doing, you can actually like um, run an old operating system and still be using it 10, 20 years later. But Loradis Quadrata, if you're still there, mate, like I just want to say thanks for your chats, mate. Like I'm doing a lot better now. I've been getting through a lot of stuff, and doing these live streams is helping. So Taco saying, I upgraded my 5-year-old phone to a 2023 model, but it was used, cracked in the back and cheap, but people didn't want it because it didn't look pretty. It's insane. That's awesome. So you are doing like, how can you be guilty about like wasting electronics when you're buying used phones and things? Like that's exactly what everyone like. If you're there's more people doing what you're doing, um, we wouldn't have so much e-waste. So you know you you're both selling off, you're donating old computers and things, and you're buying secondhand phones. So you're doing everything that as you can. Loradis Quadrada saying, any idea why it's like that in Australia? In Italy, for example, really depends on the region. Some doing good and being conscious, and others not so much. But at the end of the day, the politics send everything. Yeah, yeah, to Africa. So in Australia, we send our stuff to China to get recycled and things like that. Um, so I think different countries or different regions of the world send their stuff to other places, and it's sort of a sad thing that happens. Um, so I don't. I think I don't know if it's ever going to get better. Except one thing that we can be sort of I don't know, like we can hope that like efficiency or like computers use less power over time. And um, I mean, back in the day, computers used to last for 10 or 20 years. But yeah, you know, Taco's saying, lovely to meet you, Luke. My name is Noah, by the way. I have to start work now. We'll be back again. Can catch your streams. Have a good one. Thank you so much, mate. It was nice to meet you too. I'm really grateful, and I just started doing this recently, and I've been going through a lot, and I suffer like a few things in my life, and if you like, um, I've really like you'll notice if you listen to any of my other live streams, I've been very lively tonight, and that's because I'm not talking about my problems. I'm talking about other stuff, and I've really enjoyed doing this. So it was really great to meet you, and I hope that my future live streams are interesting for you. and we can communicate. So great to meet you. Quadrata saying, and have a great day at work too, by the way. Um, that's awesome, Quadrata. It's great, brother. Hey, today is your tomorrow is me. Is everyone in the same boat? Everyone keeps pushing the stone uphill. Lots of love. That's it, mate. That's it, Sisyphus. I think that's been my life, And then you push the stone up the hill, and then it rolls back to the bottom again. You keep doing it, but you don't give up. That's the thing. You don't give up. Yes, the sunrise is coming. It's the sunrise sunset video is coming, and I've been thinking about it. This week's been too much. Last week it was rainy, and then this week there's been too much going on. So it's in the works, and I've been thinking about, and I've been thinking about where to go, because there's a few places, and it's going to happen soon, mate. You got to keep asking. That's awesome. You keep pushing it. It'll happen, mate. Yeah, mate. Taco, nice to meet you, mate. I'll see you next time. No, but I'm going to do those videos, and I've even been thinking about what to say for the sunrise video, because it's such a special time of day, magical time of day, and it makes me I get excited to think about like how amazing it is, and um, no, I'm looking forward to that, and that's going to happen soon, maybe in the next week. So definitely, I'm looking forward to that. So um, early next week, I'll put it on. Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to have a sunrise video, and then I'll have a sunset video. So that's what I'm aiming for. The part they don't tell you about Sisyphus is that after after years, you develop some fucking strong leg, and the rock is just a pebble. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. You build up that strength, and then it doesn't matter, because you just keep doing it, and so the pebble, so the big rock becomes this little tiny thing. That's awesome. Well, I'm gonna have to end here, because I've had a good chat tonight, and I really appreciate everyone here. I'm sorry, Quadrata, you only just joined, um, but thanks for reminding me about those sunrise videos. I do have it on the cards, and it's just been this week. So I was saying at the start of the video, I've been doing bits helping my dad and my mum today. So in the last few days, um, this, I just haven't got around to it. And I've also had a few slow times this week where I haven't been able to do much. So I really look forward to the sunrise, and it's going to be a great thing to do, mate. Like, I appreciate that, and I look forward to it. It's like a challenge, and it's something I really love doing. And so I've since been thinking about it, and I want to make it because the last few times I've gone sunsets, I just haven't I took the camera a couple times and taken photos, but I just haven't got the video stuff yet. Yeah, big hug, brother. Right back at you, mate. Thank you all. It's been awesome, and I really appreciate this. This is reconnecting with humans and talking to people, and I can't express how much I'm getting out of this. Is like really making me grow as a person and get back to living again. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night, and I hope to speak to you again.